Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another great meeting. This is the World Energy Day Roundtable, Energy Professionals Roundtable, and we are so excited to have you today, have you present, and take the time to go into meaningful discussions affecting our world. So I'll start off with yet another story, like last time also. And this time it's a little different, just to get you thinking. Thinking out wide, thinking about why we are gathered here and what exactly are we going to achieve from this conversation. So two prosperous shoe companies in one African city had come together to take over, at least take over the market in a certain African city. And they were very well known and loved by the urban dwellers there. They had great shoes of all kinds. The staff was talented and kept surpassing their sales expectations. However, as with all good things, someone else will eventually want a piece of the market. And so naturally, as you might expect, a few startups and larger shoe companies set up shop in the city. Their marketing campaigns, daily offers, free deliveries, giveaways, made the market very bloody very quickly. And so our beloved shoe companies, which had been very well known and loved for so long, had to pivot or perish. Each one of these organizations sent out its best executives to scour the market and find new opportunities. Remember, this was a few decades back in this African city, and there are not so many shoe companies, and the rural population was also not very familiar with the concept of shoes. So days went by as the business development executives visited villages, traveled by boat, by bicycle, and took some bus rides from schools to clinics, churches to mosques, weddings to burials. They saw it all. Returning back to the city, these executives presented their comprehensive reports. One of them concluded in this manner: the rural population doesn't know much about shoes. They never even seem to care about the latest designs or appreciate good leather on your feet. Our best chances are to check maybe another city. And so the second executive's report read something along the lines of: the rural population is yet to know much about shoes. They never really seem to care about the latest designs, but the younger boys and girls loved the colorful sandals I took with me. They might not appreciate good leather, but a practical and comfortable shoes for long distances, for long walks and events could be a place to start. So our best chances are to set up in the rural area. Which company do you think perished and which one potentially pivoted? So these are two experiences told in a slightly different way. The outcome can just be as different as has been seen by these two executives. One of them saw it as a dead end, no market growth. The other saw it as an opportunity where it seemed like there was untapped potential. As we gather here today, each one of us has a unique story about a personal or professional impact. We might be going through the same 24 hours or even seeing the same pandemic happening around us. We are faced with the same challenges of either stopping a bad habit or starting a new one, like any other human being. But our responses to all this is what makes the difference. The conversations today are about blending our various experiences to create this positive impact on the world on matters energy and sustainability. And so I urge you today to listen keenly and contribute thoughtfully. This is a place to connect and collaborate. So feel free to engage with at least one or two people, even on private message, who could be a great source of value for you. My name is Warren, and welcome to the 5th Energy Professionals Roundtable. Before we continue, I'll hand it over to Ruth to take us through the housekeeping groups for this event. And so welcome, Ruth.
Thank you so much, Warren. So I will take us through the housekeeping rules. Ensure you have sufficient data that will sustain the meeting. Kindly avoid disruption, noise, and movement in your background. Identify a quiet place for the meeting. Also, remember to rename yourself with your two official names. This webinar is being recorded and will be sent to each participant. If you have any reservations, kindly reach out. Avoid logging in with two devices, as this will cause an echo anytime you speak. Kindly stay muted throughout the meeting unless asked to speak. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand and I will see you and unmute you. The chat box will remain available during the meeting for any questions or any clarifications. We are also live on Facebook. Back to you, Warren.
Thank you, Ruth. That was great. We have Troy Barry of Aria Finergy, who's also going to now join us for his opening remarks. Troy, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Great. Thank you, Warren. No, this is a really exciting, quick introduction. Very happy to have Dr. Singh and Warren talk to everyone later. Harjit, it's nice to see you again. We met last time in Nairobi.
Yes, nice to see you, Troy. I remember very well. Yeah.
Good, nice. And as far as innovation and technology, it's really great to have you here. Warren, the same. We're going to touch a little bit on youth and energy, and Warren's experience on those fronts and energy as well will be really great to hear. So a little introduction to myself. I am the Chief Technology Officer for Aria Finergy, which is a renewable energy project developer and system operator as well. Here, we're based in Nairobi. We have 14 operating solar PV plants here in Kenya. My background, I graduated in 2009, and my first work experience was actually overseas in Ghana, West Africa. Did a little bit of development work, realized that my main interest was in renewable energy. So I went back to Canada, started a few businesses, and realized that as someone without experience, I wasn't as effective as I could be with experience. So then I got an engineering job, worked the next 8 or 9 years doing product development in battery development. So it was an energy storage device meant to pair with renewable energy systems. Through that product development experience, I ended up actually getting exposed to a lot of application side. And that's what led me to come to Kenya, was I wanted to be the bridge between technologies from overseas to technologies from overseas to actually come here where the energy challenges are for all the growth that's happening in energy across the African continent. So Aria Finergy was a really good fit. Our main thing that we deliver is straight solar PV systems. The price of energy is quite high in Kenya, and we live on the equator where there's a lot of sunshine, and the price of solar, as everyone knows, has dropped quite a bit. So it's really a perfect fit to deliver solar here, but we haven't quite stopped. We realize that our business, to succeed, needs to keep innovating, and we want to stay ahead of all the technology curves. So within our team, we've grown a really great team. We're blessed to have a strong team and actually strong partners. I see some of our partners are here watching as well. So the combination of partners and a strong team has really allowed us to reach more clients, bring new technologies. We want to get into solar thermal ways of using the sun to create heat, not just electricity. We want to get into power stabilization, energy storage. We have a few projects we've delivered on that front. Some of the topics today are sustainability, innovation, and youth in energy. So to me, sustainability is really about recognizing that this world we live in has finite resources. And the second thing we realize in that is we are interdependent with that world and that nature. So as much as humans can survive in pristine bubbles where food gets brought in and brought out, the waste gets brought out, we operate in the world, and that can happen because nature is outside and nature is providing. So either it's farms, whether it's bugs and birds and bees that pollinate our flowers, pollinate our crops, and whether it's just nature that exists out there that we have a little bit of responsibility as the species that is the highest capacity for forethought and action and collaboration. We have that responsibility to protect it. And then just a little note, to me, sustainability goes beyond carbon reduction. I think a lot of people are thinking about fossil fuels and climate change. That's huge, but there's also reducing chemical use, plastic use, and then leaving that nature as intact and pristine as possible. Innovation, and this is a little bit of a broad term, but to me, it really means using new ideas to bring positive change. And the requirement for positive change, it isn't, I mean, you could use innovation, you can innovate to build a better weapon, but there's no positive change in that. So if you were to do a Venn diagram of innovation and technology development, I would put innovation on the side where there's actually positive change behind it. I'm sure that's not the universal term. A lot of people would call it technology development, but within that, something like policy change is also innovating. So if a government or a leadership group brings a policy change, there's no technology involved, but it is also innovation and has a huge capacity to bring that positive change. One thing around innovation, okay, we were at, I think the big thing about innovation, I just brought a Raspberry Pi with me today, is that we're at such an exciting time where innovation has never been so accessible. And that's both from a CapEx point of view and also the technology. We've heard a lot about Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and these guys became very rich, successful because they were the first ones to bring about computers. And now that computers exist, you could say, okay, well, that opportunity doesn't exist for me because computers already exist. They came across, they had a step change, but that's not actually true, because within the world of computers and technology and energy, there's innovation and new ideas and new ways of doing things that are happening all the time. They're a little bit more difficult because you have to stand on the shoulders of the people that invented all the changes up to this point. So it's getting more difficult as things get more complex, but these changes completely exist. And I'll touch a little bit on the youth and technology. The inventor of this was a guy named Eben Upton. This is a Raspberry Pi. This should cost between $40. And this is a computer. And this allows anyone with an internet connection to learn all of the skills that exist in the world and innovate themselves and build companies. You can build a company off of this $40 device. So that to me is true innovation. Youth and energy is the last item. I'm going to split this into two. I'm going to have two recommendations. One is for the youth and one is for business. And for the youth, the biggest thing to really, truly take to your heart is the knowledge of the world is now at your fingertips. So everything that humankind has ever thought, built, constructed, dreamed of is something that we can now access on the internet. So with that availability, I really recommend to the youth to learn as much as you can and really choose something that you're passionate about and become an expert in it. With that, you can then, we understand, I mean, the job market is very tough. So it's not easy to get a job, and it's not easy to know what to get good at. But once you've identified what you want to get good at, it is easy to become good at it. And that is through practice and through research. So there's a big jump. I mean, the reason when I did my own introduction, I went to Ghana, I worked for a year and a half. I was full of ideas. I wanted to come back to Canada. I wanted to change Canada. And I tried, but I realized I just wasn't good. I didn't have any experience. I didn't know what to do. And so I stopped being an entrepreneur and I went and got a job. And the speed at which I learned knowledge through people that already had knowledge was I think was just a huge step in my own development. So that those first few years when you're working, I really encourage people to find someone, find a mentor, work in an internship if you can, learn as much from that person as possible. And then once you become good at something, then become the entrepreneur that you've dreamed of, if that's what you want to do. Or at least work within startups, work for an entrepreneur. But it is accessible to everyone. But I did want to you, if I say, take the responsibility to become really good at something, and preferably something you're passionate about. I sometimes get people applying for jobs that say, I'm a quick learner, I can do anything, that's good if you're like a maintenance technician, but it isn't exactly something that I want to hear. I want you to tell me what you want to do, tell me what you're good at, tell me what you're passionate about, tell me what you already know, and then I can say, okay, well, we can apply that to this thing that we want to have done. And then for the business, as much as I encourage the youth to continue researching and gain their skill, grow their skill set as much as they can, even with the shortage in job market. The businesses need to realize that the world is changing, and you need to keep up. And if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. So if you're not innovating, you're moving backward. And if you're not bringing in these new ideas, that's also a way that you're moving backward. And youth are the ones that have these ideas. People in their 20s have a greater capacity to learn than people that are older. And since the world is changing so much, you need to really rely on youth. You need to invest in youth, hire youth into your businesses, because these are the ones that are going to create the ideas of where you're going to grow. Just again, a little shout out to our team. I'm so excited that RF Energy has grown. We've both on the engineering side and the admin and finance and legal side, we've added to our team, we've added youth, and with them are going to come ideas, things that I don't know, I'm not going to be able to learn myself. They're going to feed into what our business does, and I think we're being able to position ourselves to continue innovating, just because we brought on such a skilled and hardworking team that has intelligence and the work ethic to continue our technology development. So that's, I think, three introductions to the topics today. I'll hand it back to the host to do the introductions to our speakers.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Troy. It's very exciting, the different angles of approaching business in terms of innovations and using technology to leverage the output of businesses, and how young people can really make use of their skills. Today, the internet is accessible to everyone on their phone, and even the power of technology now has been compressed to a Raspberry Pi, a small computer worth about $40, $50. So then this brings us that window for us to get up once more, for us to explore ideas, even across borders, on how we can transform the energy and sustainability fields. So that's very impactful, and thank you so much, Troy, for those opening remarks. To the youth, this is your time, this is the challenge, this is the responsibility that has been placed upon you, the opportunity to use your youthfulness, to use technology, and to leverage businesses in order to attain your growth. So now I'll give you a brief introduction of the World Energy Day celebrations and why we're gathered here before we move on to our next speaker. Before I do that, I'd just like to urge you to post any questions that you might be having so far in the chat section, and we will address them as we go along. So please put in any questions that you might have so far. The World Energy Day celebrations are held every year in October. For Kenya, RF Energy and Innovators Limited are organizing the World Energy Day Conference 2020 to be held between 22nd and 23rd of October. The theme for this event will be the future of energy in Africa, innovation, efficiency, and interoperability. Roundtable discussions like these with upcoming and experienced professionals allow us the chance to interact and strike conversations that motivate action in the areas of energy and sustainability. Today, we're talking about innovating for change, how you and I can lead the energy transformation in Africa. Our keynote speaker is an experienced member of academia and an energy practitioner himself. He'll be engaging us on the topic of how to harness global experiences to make local impact in the energy field. And so Dr. Harjit Singh is a senior lecturer at Brunel University London with research interests in solar energy technologies, vacuum insulation panels, and building retrofit for energy efficiency, with over £19 million research funding and more than 60 peer-reviewed publications in this area. That's an extensive profile. He's received research funding from all major UK and European funders, including Newton Fund, Innovate UK, Technology Strategy Board, Horizon 2020, and several other industrial funders in the UK, US, and even Germany. He was a consultant to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on a funded project to develop passive energy vaccine storage devices. Currently, Dr. Singh is supervising 6 postdoctoral assistants and 5 PhD students covering various aspects of solar energy technologies, efficiency of energy use in buildings, and advanced insulation materials. He's very open to collaborating in these areas with university scientists, engineers, individuals, NGOs, and even industry. So welcome, Dr. This is your chance.
Thank you, Warren. And thanks, Troy, for setting the scene very nicely. First of all, I don't think I am as inspirational speaker as others probably would be. And I have never done anything to inspire others because I'm crap at it. I'm a very selfish person. I just do everything that interests me. And on the way, if anything happens, I like to take pride to say it's innovation. I have done it. But so please do not expect any solutions or any exciting talk here. But what I'm going to say is what I think is innovation and how I could match the problems to the existing technological solutions. And the problems that I'm talking about are not the problems which are normally known to people as problems. These are, to me, the aspirations of people who want to develop. And I take every aspiration as a challenge for me and to my technology. And I marry the two together optimally, which is, of course, a misnomer. There is no optimal marriage. But still, I try to put them two together and get a new solution. And that's, for me, is innovation. And that's what I have been doing in my career. Like Troy, I graduated in 2009 myself. And since then, I've been working in academia and mainly focusing on research, and had been fairly successful in my ideas receiving funding from nearly every public funder in the UK and Europe and America as well. Now, what I see actually in the current environment, especially in the context of Africa, is that Africa is abundant with resources, and these resources are randomly distributed and are very diverse. And that's exactly what nature does. Nature does not do anything uniformly or replicably. It does everything randomly. And so to me, Africa is the most natural, say, existing continent. Europe is very different if you compare. In Europe, from country to country, resources are almost similar, but that's not the case in Africa. So it's a very naturally existing, say, a situation, which brings up challenges to people like myself, who want to bring in solutions to the problems or to the situations per se, which vary from country to country, not only in nature, but also in intensity as well. So what it leads to me is, and that's what I suppose I have been fairly successful in explaining to the funders that have funded my research in Africa lately, is that what I'm doing is I'm not doing one size fits all. whatever I have here in the UK that I've been developing over years for industry and other applications will be applicable in Africa. But on the contrary, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cut every piece to size where and how it is required. And discerning experts from all around the world then from this approach of cut to size see an opportunity of 1 billion opportunities in Africa, because there are 1 billion people. Everyone has their own aspirations, their own intensity of aspirations, and which are increasing. Some people might see it as a challenge, but I see it as an opportunity whereby these 1 billion people are going to go from currently 1 billion to 1.25 billion in 2025 and 2.1 billion in 2050. So more the people, more the aspirations. Maybe it's a challenge, but to me, it's an opportunity. And to meet the expectations of these aspirations of these people, who some people would call as consumers as well. And to give an example to which my technologies provide innovative solutions of these aspirations is one example of aspiration will be the energy demand, and at all scales, which is domestic, commercial, and industrial. Now, to me, the glass is already half full, because there are aspirations, there are resources, and there are, to some extent now, the policy environment is also awakening to the point that new innovative solutions are required, and there is a desire in the governments that the energy demand of people must be met within a timed period. Now, so what I see then in the way I work is that how could I understand the situation? There are a lot of opportunities around the world whereby you do not have to reinvent the wheel to understand the situation. For example, World Bank and International Energy Agency, they publish a lot of reports at Africa level and even at the country level as well. So all of you are welcome to access those reports. To give an example, the recent report by World Bank, it clearly says that only 42% people in Africa in households have been, or 42% of the households have been electrified. And some countries have even less than 10% of them electrified. And if you compare between rural and urban households, there is a huge disparity. For example, only about 71% of urban households have been electrified, but on the contrary, 22% rural households are. And there is a low reliability in the current energy supply systems, unfortunately. And despite that, there is a very high per kilowatt hour cost that people are paying. It's a situation which is existing currently in Africa. If you look around the world, if you go globally, COP21 clearly set a target that the temperatures by 2100 should be limited to within 2 degrees centigrades above pre-industrial levels. And the target should be rather 1.5 degrees. It was clearly said into COP21 statement. So there is a global environment, very ripe to accept and welcome technologies or innovations which could help the global community in reaching these goals, and in Africa in meeting the energy demands. And if you look at the resource condition, there is an abundance of sun in Africa, which is more than 1,800 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. I don't want to bore you with a lot of numbers, but this is almost double what we get in London. Just put you in the context. And then the demand. Another interesting fact about Africa is the demand is small in sizes per household. And a discerning brain is always thinking about, is there a technology now that fits the situation whereby that meets the global aspirations of carbon reduction, but that also meets the aspirations of how the demand is being raised by African consumers? Then it goes further and it matches the amount of resource that is available. If you look at sun is unfortunately not very intensely available at every location around the world. Even in the most sunnier places in the world, will have per square meter area, the sun is very little every second, compared to the energy intensity, for example, of petroleum fuels. But it's a situation whereby can we match this low intensity sun with the low intensity of energy demand in Africa? And I suppose there is no better continent than Africa to have solar energy. At least till the consumers become consumers of the West, like in the West, where they consume a lot of energy for everything to do. And then, to me, solar energy technologies produce the best solutions for the situations those are existing, prevailing in Africa currently. And and that's what I have been doing, and I've been developing technologies to match the situations. Because to me, the innovation is the marriage between three things, which is the resource, the demand, and the available technological solutions. If we are able to match these three, we have an innovative solution for a given situation. And I throw in, before I stop my talk, I just want to throw in one new problem that we have seen lately in 2020, and that is COVID-19. Everyone knows about COVID-19. But the kind of problem that it has thrown to energy technologists or developers or even suppliers is that the energy loads have been shifted from offices to homes. And then quite often, those homes may not have an energy access to energy as smooth as it was in offices, because offices are commercially developed spaces compared to homes. Then now the situation is that the energy technologists have to produce the technologies that could work at low energy available within the houses or create more energy for the homes. Another challenge that the COVID-19 has thrown in is that what will you do with the office spaces which have fallen vacant? Because there is talk already that the 80% of the office goers may not at all come back to their offices. They would rather prefer to work from homes. So the energy load in homes has increased. How do you meet that load? And it's very distributed. Secondly, what will you do with the office spaces which have been left unoccupied? And thirdly, another challenge which I see is the municipal waste now being generated by people working from homes is much more and different from that it was being produced when they were working from the offices. So is there a solution for that? And what kind of waste is this? Are we thinking about this already? Then finally, we've seen it that there's been a lot of activities going on at hospitals and health center levels. And they are now, this has increased the energy loads, which includes space heating, cooling, air conditioning, as well as others, for hospitals and health centers. Do we have technologies that could deal with the existing sudden rise in this type of loads, energy loads in hospitals and health centers? So I believe these are the new latest challenges which are waiting for some innovators amongst us to stand up and find a solution. And that's where I end my talk. Thank you.
Well, that was very insightful, Dr. Harjit. Bringing these three aspects of resource, demand, and then the technologies, I think that shift in terms of looking at how the COVID situation has done, at least actually across the world, these opportunities are now shifting to residential spaces. Innovations probably now need to spring up more from the commercial side and more to the residential side, because if many people are now preferring to maybe work from home or maybe do more activities from the residential areas, then it means the consumption patterns now shift. And so energy technologies need to respond to such. And to that point, I wanted to find out whether we had any questions in the chat function that we can maybe look into and and address. In the meantime, as maybe Karen helps us find the questions, I'd just like to know.
Sorry, Warren, there is a question actually. I can see a question in the group chat.
Okay.
Like I don't know the answer to be honest, but maybe
Right.
Troy can help us here. But the question is: Are there and popular skills sharing or collaboration platforms for energy technology in Africa? In bracket, it says, "I feel like a lack of access to collaboration and local skills sharing are holding many people back." Yeah, I can repeat it now. I think I've understood the question. Are there any popular skill sharing or collaboration platforms for energy technology in Africa? This is the question. I think Troy probably and Jenny could very nicely answer this.
Right. So Troy, be in a place to answer this? When you're talking about...
Yeah, I'm thinking of myself. I don't know. There's one, I mean, I think someone more skilled can answer this as well, but I think I generally agree. The one thing in there that I said to youth was, it's easy to learn once you've identified what to learn. And that's what helped. When I was young, I remember before I worked in industry, say, whole thing about what is industry, what does industry do, what do they want? That's a really difficult thing to know if you haven't been exposed yourself. So, and at the same time, I don't know how you can ask a private company to also be like, spend some time saying, okay, here's our problems, can someone else solve this? Private about their own time and worried about IP and everything. So maybe the best way is through work internships, which isn't something that's easily accessible for everyone to learn from, right? That's where I was lucky enough to get. I had 6 work terms during my university career, and they all were extremely instrumental to my development. But as far as going online and logging into something, there's a lot of forums and chat boards. I've never used those myself, but I often, as an engineer, I'm always logging into them, learning from what other people have written, and it must take an incredible amount of dedication for someone to come in and check and answer other people's questions on forums and chat boards. But since I don't really know the answer, I don't know if anyone else can chime in as well.
I think, Troy, I can just I just learned from what you said actually, and there's a real opportunity. I have right now 6 projects running in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda with other colleagues. And in each project, our target is to have 2 to 3 or 4 local engineering graduates working on our side as apprentices, as internships you just mentioned. So we are happy to have and hear from people who are interested in this opportunity and work with us. COVID-19 has, of course, thrown everything into the sea, but still there are opportunities. People can come in and then start communicating with us online and then start interacting with the project professionals. As you said, IP is an issue, but we can work around that. So there are opportunities for people like this, but of course this does not answer the question directly because it's not a collaboration platform already available. It's just till the projects will last, people are able to work with us as interns.
Great.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this is really the idea around World Energy Day. And we had originally wanted to have a kind of an exhibition, an expo where companies would come in and put up their displays. And to walk in, that's what I've also found as far as what's available. It doesn't answer the question about, I think, where wants this to go and where a lot of people want this to go. But from what exists, exhibitions is a great way to come in and you can talk to 100 companies about what they offer. Innovators does a lot about this. I would suggest, Chris, do you have any thoughts on how to answer the question as well? Chris Mburi, the CEO of Innovators, is actually devotes a lot of his career to this as well. So, Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Troy. I would say probably not so much on platforms, already developed platforms, but I've seen a few coming up in terms of with specificity. For example, platforms for e-mobility are coming up in the African space, just to share around the technology that is quickly evolving. So I think it's also an opportunity, definitely, to just also see how we can create these platforms to talk about these energy technologies and share insights and how we apply them in the different applications across the different areas in Africa.
Yeah, thanks for that. And thank you for the insights. And just on top of my head, I'm thinking this is probably the time where we're seeing a lot of the distributed or fragmented, maybe industry associations, which have previously been locked within countries or certain localities, now come online and become more virtual. So events like this are probably like one of those emerging outcomes where people now need to collaborate more online. So the conclusion around industry associations, as well as platforms like this, the World Energy Day, I think those are great places to start exploring and connecting further. I mean, being gathered here, 20, 30 individuals, it becomes that open space where you can start looking to people's profiles, listen to some of the inputs that people give, as well as just connect with them directly to foster more collaboration, of course. Right. And to Dr. Harjit, I wanted to get a few more insights on maybe how your work is also tying into making clean energy more accessible, because you had mentioned the research projects going on in these 3 countries, and it would be good to just shed light on maybe the impact that you anticipate from these projects and what they're really about. Because we have young people in the room, and I'm sure these are research projects and are quite innovative. So it would be good to pique the interest of a few individuals in the room and maybe trigger some questions. So, yeah.
Sorry, is the question to me? Sorry, Warren.
Yes.
Can you? I was.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you?
Sorry.
Can you repeat?
Yes, Sure, no problem. So I wanted to get a bit more of an understanding on how your work is tying into making maybe clean energy more accessible, because your projects seem to be all research-based, which are definitely going to trigger some bits of innovation and also pique the interest of the audience. So it was mainly to just clarify, or at least go into a bit more detail about maybe the impact that you anticipate from these projects in these countries, just so that we can see whether there will be anyone else in the room who could also resonate with what you're doing and maybe ask questions.
See, the projects that I have been currently doing, as Troy said in his talk, that solar heating is an area which has not been addressed as much as electricity, because electricity is exciting and it's visible, it brings the lights on, etc. So it's something very much always in the talk. But my technologies that I've developed are now looking at four problems to be resolved. The one is the problem of industrial heat, and the second one is the problem of deforestation, and the third one is the problem of dealing with municipal solid waste, which is a huge issue in Africa. And then the fourth one is looking at the indoor thermal comfort in buildings, especially in rural Kenya, for example. And so when I say indoor thermal comfort, it also includes into it the indoor pollution level and then how to deal with that through technologies. So so there are 6 projects currently we're running, and then fifthly, sorry, I should mention another one. So we've got a recent funding as well for dealing with the storage of horticultural produce of small holders in Africa. So what, and in each one of them, the common thread is the solution comes through solar technologies, and the solar technologies are they have a characteristic in which one of them as well, which is the concentrating type solar technologies. So these are the technologies which I have been developing through our team here in Brunel. And all these technologies, they produce either temperature at a high at a high heat content level, and then and also they also produce at the same time in some cases electricity as well. So what we're trying to do is basically through the development of these concentrating solar technologies, we target to deliver heat and electricity to resolve these societal issues which I've just mentioned. And in doing so, we have collaborated with local African organizations, like, for example, Chris Innovators is a partner. And then we also have collaborated with other industry in Africa lately. One of them, which comes top of the head, is an entity called Kizani Testing Limited. Then we have collaborated with local universities that include, for example, Kenyatta University, where my colleagues Elias Echo and Samila Tima have been partnering with us. And then also we have collaborated with the University of Nairobi and universities in Nigeria and Tanzania as well lately. Then industry in Nigeria and Tanzania again, and also the horticultural associations or the farmers associations as well. So we have a variety of partners, we have a variety of tech, but each one of the problems that we have identified in different parts of society could be dealt through solar technologies, the ones which I have been developing in our lab here in Brunel. What we have here is a team of 9 technologists, which I lead. They work on different projects and targeted at specific objectives. I don't think we are as innovative as we could be because we are too married to the technologies that I have been historically developing. So, but that's what we do, and probably the main recipe of our research is identify a problem and fit it to the solutions that we already have, and then alter them to the new situation. I don't know whether I have answered what you were expecting, but I've just answered based on my experience, what I do.
Yeah, great. It's still very sufficient, mentioning all the problems you've identified, as well as the need for thermal technologies, at least solar thermal technologies, to come online and try and address some of the challenges that could be faced in the region. As you've truly said, electrical energy is very well understood and very well innovated around. But when it comes to solar thermal technologies, the pace is now picking up because as we are placed in around the equator, there's plenty of sunshine, there's plenty of heat that can be harnessed for various purposes. So this would be good to even see more of our the student or the academic bodies go into this and try and trigger more research, because this is now what leads to more affordable technologies and technologies that are now sustainable and ready for the future. So thank you for that, Dr. Harjit. And to add to some of the conversations that we've been having already, we want to just launch 2 polls that will now try and shed some light on some of the innovative technologies that maybe the audience is finding most promising in the region, as well as whether any of the audience members has also been involved in research activities lately. So we'll start off with poll number 1. Carol, if you are, okay, you can set it up, good. So what 2 innovative technologies have you seen show the most promise for Africa's energy sector? We are looking at all this. We have seen and heard a lot about how these technologies are currently taking shape. There are so many startups that are now showing interest in Africa's energy sector. But which technologies have been most adopted in your opinion? We've seen electrical energy technologies, pick up quite quickly. But then even socially targeted projects are also taking shape. Solar home systems, clean cooking is also quite prominent. But then from the audience, this would be interesting to see what people have gravitated towards. So we have about 5 or so seconds left. And I see 60% of you have voted. So just put in your poll and we'll close in the next 3 seconds. Okay. And we'll close about, okay, you're still voting. Okay, please put in your final vote. 75% of you have voted. Okay, I think then that will do for now. So maybe we can show the results. Lo and behold, solar, photovoltaic, and thermal systems have shown a lot of interest. And I'm thinking here we could still have even we could have had a better breakdown in terms of whether it's really solar, photovoltaic, or thermal systems. Metering and monitoring is also well seen. Solar home systems have shown a lot of potential. So we have seen a lot of these technologies, again, centered around electrical energy, excuse me. And now it could be a great time to talk more about where thermal technologies will now lead us, whether it's just for the home unit or even commercially for drying of horticultural products to even producing steam for industries. Thank you. We'll launch the next poll. I think this is fine. The next poll will be about research. Okay, you can have that poll up. So have you been involved in any research activities, either at undergraduate or postgraduate levels, anywhere in the last 3 or so years? This would be interesting to see which professionals are coming directly from the energy research field or have directly dealt with energy, or which other professionals have transitioned. Okay, so we have 50% of you have voted. Kindly put in your vote. Have about 20 seconds to go. Okay, have you done any research activities? So this could, again, transcend any of the energy fields. So whether you're looking at thermal, electrical, this could be worth highlighting. Okay. We shall close just about now and show the results. So 68% of you have been involved in research activity. I think this would be very warm for you, Dr. Harjit, to see that you're not alone, that energy research is something that's still very active in the region. And so your views have been well accepted, and feel free to engage more with the audience, and even the audience feel free to engage more with Dr. Harjit, even beyond this conversation.
Yes, I'm very happy to hear from anyone who thinks they could contribute and participate in our research projects. Great. And even if someone has new ideas, we're happy to have them as well and discuss with them.
Great. So maybe you can, if it's possible, once we're ready, we can share contacts so that maybe anyone can get in touch with you for any further conversation.
I wouldn't mind, Warren, you to share my email address after the event finishes with everyone.
Sure, that's great. All right, thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the second segment of the roundtable. We are indeed launching the Youth Innovation Challenge 2020 and want you to get involved in showcasing the impactful projects that you have been working on. And for now, we shall start by explaining more about the challenge before officially opening. So Ruth will take us through the why of this innovation challenge, after which we shall then go into the nitty-gritty of how this event will take place and open the floor for any question and answers. So listen keenly and add in any questions that you might already be having in the chat section. Ruth?
Okay, thank you so much, Warren. Host, kindly spotlight my video. Okay, so we have held the Energy Innovation Challenge for 3 years now. Youths from various universities get the opportunities to physically showcase their innovative ideas during the World Energy Day conferences, and delegates are left mouth open each time. For instance, previously we had a solar pond project. We had a project on the solar pond, which could be used as a heat trap. We also had a solar-powered refrigeration system, which could be installed at a central place in the market for vegetable vendors. We also had a real-time monitoring and control system for greenhouses. This time round, we are going bigger and better. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we are yet again having the competitions running, and this time focusing on East Africa at large. The winners of the previous Innovation Challenge had a chance to attend mentorship programs, internship opportunities, and many, many more. The youth are very conversant with the modern day technological trends, and so we believe that by bringing their innovative ideas into the limelight, we will be accelerating the SDGs. This year, we are giving a chance to both the youth in learning institutions and the ones who have had some sort of experience in the employment sector. And so, if you are a youth aged 30 years and below, or if you know any youth of age 30 years and below, kindly tell them that it's their time to showcase their ideas and show the world how innovative they can get. Thank you, Warren.
Great, great. Thank you. So this is an opportunity for us to at least move the energy frontier once more, push the boundaries and create technologies that can have a positive impact on our energy future. The world is now changing, and as Ruth has put it, we need solutions that can address these challenges. We'll now hand it over to Kathy, I think, to go into more details. But let's see, in the meantime, do we have any questions? If not, I'll now call upon Kathy to also talk us through the nitty-gritty, so that's in terms of the timelines and what students or what young people in the audience can also expect of this event. We have Kathy on the line. Great. So if Kathy is not present yet, is it possible for you, Ruth, to maybe finish off, check on the event page? Right. This has been quite an interesting era where we all expect everyone to be online at the same time. We all expect technology to work just right for each one of us. So maybe this could be one of those challenges that we're experiencing. But even so, that does not stop us from continuing. I'll just carry on from where Ruth has left off. With this innovation challenge, we are looking for projects that are based on innovativeness, originality, social impact, as well as economic viability. We are also looking at participants who are recent graduates or even experienced professionals. There's an age limit to this challenge, being tagged a youth innovation challenge. We are focusing on the people who are under 30 years of age. So you might be young at heart, but 30 is the number. You might just call for your identification documents to verify this. So you can still go ahead and submit your innovations. We'll look at them even though the age limit has been set. In terms of collaboration, we want more people to collaborate in groups. So these are groups of 1 to 3 people, because usually when there's a group, there's more collaboration, there are more aspects of the project that can be better addressed when you have dedicated team members to focus on a few different aspects. So it can be the technology aspect, the social impact, can even be the finance aspect. So we encourage teams of 1 to 3 to participate in this. And so that's briefly about what we are expecting, as long as you are young, not just young at heart. Number 2 is teams of 1 to 3. And number 3 is the categories that we'll be using to assess these projects: innovativeness, originality, social and economic viability. You might be wondering what stands on the other side of your effort and the blood, sweat, and tears that you put forth. So we are considering giving out internship positions. Being youthful and being ready to learn and interact with experienced professionals, we want to provide you a chance to do this. So through internship provisions or incubation of these ideas, we want to help you transition your projects from not just concepts, but all the way to commercializations. So we'll try our level best to link you up with incubation developers or incubating organizations, as well as places in academia where you can test run your project and see how well it picks off. The projects are highly encouraged to be more in the prototyping stages, or even test runs and physical implementations. So please, as you're applying, consider that we will be focusing more on projects that have demonstrated a bit of impact and have a bit of results, or are heading towards some kind of outcome that can be objectively quantified. So aside from everything technology and businessy, we want to give you, like any other normal human being who wants to kick back and relax, their shopping vouchers that are up for winning. For the taking, we have holiday experiences as well as cash prizes. So all this will be made available to the successful projects that will be nominated and go through the entire vetting process. Speaking of the vetting process, project nominations are opening today and closing on 9th of September. So that's about 12 to 13 days from now. Mark this on your calendars. 9th of September is when we close the project nominations. Shortlisting will be done a week later, up to 14th of September, and the qualified teams will be notified. So this time, we want to look more into the virtual tools and how we can interact virtually. So we'll be sending you a procedure for you to submit a video pitch between 16th and 18th of September. And final live pitches will be done with the World Energy Day Committee, as well as judges. And it will be concluded by the 24th of September, 2020. And then shortlisted candidates, they'll be notified by 30th of September on whether they have succeeded, whether they should be preparing, or whether they'll be knocked out. It's as competitive as that. So if you have projects, please adhere to some of these rules and put your best foot forward. The candidates will then prepare and showcase, or prepare to showcase their projects for the final judgment during the World Energy Day conference. So after we've done the various selection processes, we'll then submit to, or subject you to the court of public opinion, where you will sit in front and present to judges during that event, the World Energy Day conference, between 21st and 23rd of October. Please also be advised that we are looking for projects that can be of both small to medium scale, Our placeholder figure for now has been around the $1,000 mark, and that's what we are sticking to. So if you have projects that are bigger or smaller than this, be sure to justify in your financials so that we understand more about how viable this project is going to be. The reason we pegged it at such a value is we want projects that are also, they can be easily adopted, they can be easily tested, because we would not want maybe you risking going on a large scale with a project that has not demonstrated any kind of small impact, or cannot be really replicated by someone else who wants to test the ideas. So just have that figure in mind. Around $1,000 would be good for starters. And the rest of the details are on the website, the World Energy Day website. A link to this will be put in the chat section at the very end of this conversation so that you can go and start registering. This is the day we are launching the Innovation Challenge, and so registrations or nominations will open today, right after this event. The next segment is to acknowledge the judges. This would not have been possible without having competent and very dependable people to help in the process. We have selected very interesting judges for vetting as well as making the final call on which projects they believe are actually impactful and ought to be recognized. So I'll ask Ruth to just play a small introduction to some of these judges. They include Ben Mackenzie of GIZ, they include Coletta Macharia, include Ayub Baba, Heather McEwan, as well as Elvis Sekate. So we'll have their photos up. Let's go ahead. Okay, Coletta, who's a career coach, LIFO, as well as author. Ayub Baba, energy consultant. Heather McEwan, an energy efficiency expert. As well as Elvis Sekate, who's the managing director at RES Consulting Services. Just hold on, Ruth. We'll come back to that. We're just about to get there. We're just about to launch this event. And we'll do, first of all, our poll number 3 before we go there. The official launch is coming up very soon. So I'd want the poll to be launched. This is poll number 3, on just to get an idea of where your innovative or your innovations or what you've been thinking about lately as far as innovations around the energy field. Have you thought of or prototyped or have been implementing an innovative product or service in the energy field? So this is looking back maybe over the last 1 to even 3 years. Have you been prototyping a project? Are you in the ideation phase? Have you just not thought much about it and wanted to maybe see what other people have? Have you been implementing, testing out a certain product? This would be very applicable for people in research, especially. Okay, so we'll end the poll. 49% of you have done the poll. 50%. 2 seconds. Let us know. Have you been prototyping? Have you been in the ideation phase? Have you not thought much about it? Or are you implementing an energy innovation, both a product or a service at the moment? Okay, so we'll close in the next 2 seconds. Okay, that's it. And the results are in. Yes, I think most of us, apart from the 16% who have not given it a thought, maybe they might just be here to see, or they might be potential investors So be on the lookout that for the rest of the 84% of you who are either prototyping in the ideation phase or implementing, that there could be eyes looking out at you. And this is a platform for you to now make the most of. Come and share your projects, share your ideas, let others know about these innovations and what they can do. So we'll now stop the sharing and head straight into the official launch. The time has come. We have been waiting in great anticipation for this. I'll now hand it over to Caroline Gadur, who will now officiate the challenge. Carol, welcome and take it away.
Thank you. I have been waiting ever since this webinar began for this moment. This is the official launch of the Youth Energy Innovation Challenge. What we have seen in the past 3 years has left our mouths open, and I'm sure this year, the year of innovation, COVID has made us really think. COVID has made us break boundaries. COVID has made us do things that we didn't imagine possible. We would have been in a room right now. We are here online having the same great interactions. When I look in the chat, I see collaborations, I see people wanting to work together. This may not have happened if we were in a physical space. The judges, as you saw them, are judges from South Africa, from Tunisia, from East Africa. The whole of Africa is coming together at this moment for a time such as this to get the youth out here to do what they do best. This moment belongs to the youth. It belongs to young people. When we look at the census results world over, the youth are becoming more and more the space to look at and the space to plug into and where to invest our future. And so I'll ask Ruth to run the video. And after running the video, we shall declare this launch open. All those ideas, we are waiting for them. Ruth, kindly run the video. There we go. It is my absolute pleasure this morning to declare the Youth Innovation Energy Challenge open. It is open, let the ideas flow, start now. Young people on this call, there are mentors here. Take a look at the great energy enthusiasts in this space. We are always looking for mentors. We're looking for people to work with and to work with. Mentors on this call. Hold the hand of young people because our time to have energy transformation is now. 2020 is the year of energy transformation. It has caused us to think different, do different, want different, and deliver different. And so it is open. Let's do this. Let's get the ideas going. The young people will showcase their ideas. And beyond just being technical, we are holding their hands in terms of being great leaders, being great entrepreneurs, being able to make great presentations, because you can have a great idea, but you're not able to articulate it well. So please join us during the World Energy Day Conference, 21st to 23rd October. You will see these fantastic ideas being showcased. The judges will do their thing, and we shall run with these ideas and have them come to life. An idea does not hold its weight unless it comes to life. It can only come to life if we give it life. We are the energy people. We give life, we are alive, we are pumping, we are pumping. Let's do this. It is just, this is it. At exactly 11:20 a.m. East African time, the launch has happened. There's a question on the page about IP protection. In all my excitement, let me answer that because it is a serious matter. So I will put on my serious face. I have removed my excited face, but I don't know whether I can contain the excitement. IP is a critical issue to discuss. And young people are worried that when they share their great ideas, somebody with money and somebody with the power and clout will take their idea and run off with it. We want to reassure every single person on this call and on this page and in the World Energy Day fraternity that we will sign documentation to protect your IP. We will protect it. Let us not be afraid to share great ideas that can change this world. Let us not go to the grave. Which great author said that the grave is full of ideas? We want to take our energy ideas to the grave. So let fear not run us and strangle us. Bring your ideas, we will sign documentation, we have the legal paperwork, and if you would like your legal representation to look through it as well, we will do that. Bring the ideas, let's do this. Back to you, Warren. I think my work is done.
Indeed. The energy is still very, very visible. Thank you so much for that launch. And this sets pace for what is expected of energy professionals, both young and experienced in the region. It's now time for you to stand out and make an impact on the world, make an impact on the African economy, and make an impact in your local community. So before we go on, while we're still very pumped up and psyched, we'll do a group photo to mark this event at just around 11:20 East African time. We want to take a group photo to act as a milestone, as a reminder of what we have done. We'll share this group photo later on at the end of the conversation through email conversations. So I'll hand it over to Ruth. Ruth, are you available for this?
Okay. Can we please turn on our videos?
Have our videos on?
Let's put our videos on.
Are you going to do a countdown?
Yes, I will count. I'm waiting for people to put on the videos. Still waiting.
Okay, kindly have your videos on. It's only going to take about a minute or so as Ruth takes a quick photo, and the group photo will be shared on a subsequent email after the event.
I'm waiting. Kindly let's put on our videos. Okay, I will count 1 to 3. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Back to you, Warren.
Thank you for that, Cara. Are you sure you've taken all the images and all the pages? Is that okay? Just verifying before everyone.
People have not turned their videos on page 2, so we only had 1 page to take.
Okay. Either way, thank you for that. Well, this has been a great honor for me to present this to you and host you on this World Energy Roundtable. And as we are now in the closing stages, I'll still request that if you have any pending questions that you're not sure of, this is now the time. Ask it in the chat section and we'll respond right now. And you'll get all the clarification that you need. Otherwise, the contact details will then be shared after the event. And just remember that we have about 13 to 14 days to put in your nominations. Go to the registration page, submit your details so that you're not left out. We're winding up the event. I'll welcome Chris Mbori of Innovators for his closing remarks. Hopefully this will then be the point where we try and tie in all the lessons we have learned from this conversation around how to embrace innovation, how to collaborate further to bring impact and to make sustainability a reality for Africa. So Chris, it's been a high-paced event and the bar has been raised, so welcome.
Hey, thank you very much, Warren and the team. I think my work is just to do a vote of thanks. So we've gone a bit fast. It's been a fast-paced event. But I would like to extend my hearty vote of thanks to each and every one of you for taking time to be part of this 5th round Energy Professionals Roundtable and also the launch. I would like to express definitely our deep appreciation to Dr. Harjit Singh for accepting to become our keynote speaker and gracing this event. I was particularly impressed by the thought-invoking idea of how the demands are shifting and how we as innovators, we can plug in and look at the challenges that are now affecting different sectors like residentials and hospitals and see if we can find solutions for that. I thought that was very good, and thank you very much, Harjit, for that. Also, I'm grateful to Troy for that great introduction. You know, we need as young people, as people who are innovative, to choose something that we are passionate about and just become an expert in it. He told us that, you know, we already have all the knowledge that we require to become an expert on our fingertips. And I believe we're living in a very unique time, and so we should take advantage of this. Thank you, Carol, for that energetic launch. Also, thank you very much, Warren, for just steering us through this roundtable in a very, very graceful way and a successful way. Also, I'd just like to thank Ruth and the other World Energy Day Secretariat team, you know, for working very, very hard behind the scenes, working tirelessly just to make this a success. So once again, to each and every one of us, I just want to thank you for making time for this. Stay safe, stay blessed, have a wonderful day. I would think then probably because we have some time, you know, we can use this opportunity to network and just get to know about how we can collaborate and how we can be able to expand this energy space for the betterment of our society here. Otherwise, really grateful. Have a blessed and wonderful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. So here's a high-level summary of the conversation we've had today. Dr. Harjit, it's been such an honor. And to your point is that resources are not a barrier. We ought to be resourceful. The research field is in need for solutions that apply to Africa. For the launch today, the challenge is a platform to showcase ways of transforming Africa's sustainable field. So this also comes as a responsibility to each and every single one of us that despite our age, despite our backgrounds, despite the level of knowledge that we have the opportunity today and now to learn more. Technology has never been more available, has never been more affordable. So let's take advantage of the opportunity. And to Chris and Troy's presentation, they have been very impactful in helping us understand that energy and sustainability matter for the African context. So please mark your calendar diaries for Friday, 25th of September. That is in about a month's time. We shall be having our penultimate roundtable before the official conference in October. Details to this will then be communicated in subsequent webinars. That is on Friday, 25th of September. We shall be having our second to last roundtable. Could there be any questions that maybe we can discuss about? Okay, so Dr. Harjit is very available to help and network with anyone who might be looking for research projects. Okay, we'll share the email soon after this event then. Or even if it's available, we can still have it posted there. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and your participation today. I'm hoping that you put some time, you've gathered some learnings from this conversation and have extracted some productive actions Look forward to your participation in the Youth Innovation Challenge. A link to the registration page has been shared in the chat section. Please go ahead and have a look at it, bookmark it, and once ready, comment on your project's nominations. We have about 14 or 13 days there to think about your project, think about the team members that you might be working with, and put in your applications. This is going to be a very exciting journey. Projects are not limited to just Africans alone. Anyone who is available and thinks that their project can make a difference will then should really put in the application. The nominations, the vetting processes will all be done almost completely virtually and showcased during the conference happening in October of 2020. And so we shall be then ending the meeting in just about 2 or so minutes. So to finish off any conversations you might be having, you might just use the chat function, connect with that someone, let's engage further. And once you're ready, then you can leave at your own pleasure. You can check out the registration page for more details about the challenge as well. So it's been such an honor. Thank you, and I wish you a great day ahead.